Good morning, everybody. Say hello if you come in. I know I'm late. I get it. I'm sorry. I just got off another Zoom. So that took priority this morning. I am going to be on a network marketers podcast tomorrow, and we were finishing up, and it took a little bit longer than we thought because we was having such a good time. So yeah, so come on in. Looking here to see. Subject is good today. I know many of you who struggle with this. So I want to make sure that people are seeing it. So let me switch. I have one more place to share this and then we will be with you. Quentin, absolutely we are praying for Clarksville and Nashville. My niece was actually up here from the Nashville area visiting with me when all that took place. And just watching the devastation. We are definitely praying for all of our people in the Clarksville and Nashville area, the people who lost their lives, the people who have lost their homes. Um, Tornadoes are always devastating. This one was a bad one for sure. So yes, my friend, we are definitely praying for you and yours. So thank you for reminding me. Uh, I'm glad you're good, but it's like you said, you look around and you see those who aren't, and it just breaks your heart. So I completely get that. My lighting is really weird today. I'm sorry. Is that better? That's better. Okay, now I look like I'm in the daytime. Okay, so I think I've got this shared all around. Let me turn this back around now. And let me get to. There we go. Okay, so there's a couple of you on here. It is very sad. Yes, it is. And you know what? It makes me wonder all these places around the world who are always suffering these kind of weather catastrophes, hurricanes and tsunamis and tornadoes, and they have their resources are so much less than what ours are. Um, and this is times that as much as I get angry with our country sometimes, that I am still really grateful that we live in the U.S. because this could happen other places and sometimes they never recover, or there's the death rate is so much higher because of the insufficient living places that they have. So Quentin says, I just broke down last night and cried. Been here since 98 and never in my life have I seen it like this. Yeah, it can break you, Quentin, but you know what? Just that's right. We aren't called the volunteer state for nothing. This is where no matter what your thoughts are, people come together. I hate to say that, but Quentin, can I tell you that in today's world, when things like this happen and I watch what people do, no matter who they are, they're not asking what president did you vote for. They're not asking what's your stand on abortion. They're not asking, do you agree with the gay lifestyle? They're not asking, what do you think about hybrid oil, the wall, whatever it is. They're not asking that. They're simply wanting to get together and help because your inner want to says you are a human being and God put us down here to help each other. So, God bless you. I hope everything I know eventually will be good, but we live in a nation where people come together. And I know, Quentin, that you all are getting ready to show up and show off about just how everybody links arms and stands together and helps and feeds and waters and rehouses, and it's going to be okay. We just can't see it now through the fog, but it's going to be okay. So yeah, absolutely, my friend. Why shouldn't I, right? Why shouldn't I? So, um, Wanted to mention briefly, just especially for all my network marketer friends out there, and of course my tribe and my team, uh, there is the networkmarketingmagazine.com. Altogether, the networkmarketingmagazine.com has a podcast with my friend George Madu. And they're actually, I'm their guest tomorrow on the podcast. I'll be sharing that podcast, the video part of it. We'll be sharing that on the screen, and so that everybody can see it, and talking about what we always talk about, because in our world, if you're in this, no matter what business you're in, no matter what company you're in, what it takes, and that sometimes the big hairy goals aren't the thing that you go after. Sometimes it's like, remember when you just wanted to buy that pizza? Remember? Remember when you just didn't want your car to be repopped? Remember? Remember when you were like, I got to do something, or I'm not going to be able to feed my kids, or I'm not going to be able to put gas in the car? This is what we're going to talk about, because that was my life, and it is what I do, because I want to help and inspire the real people in the world to get by what they can. With all of that and a little bit of Jesus, or sometimes a lot, we can get through just about anything. Isn't that the truth? So, hello, Michelle. Good to see you. Hi, Gwenda. Good to see you. And for anybody else who's on here that you aren't saying hi because you want to be a stalker, that's okay. That's all right. I let you be a stalker. It's all right. Um, but hello, because what we're going to talk about today, I gotta tell you, this can be a tough one. You all know that we have been reading from Embraced by Liza Turkhurst. Love her books. I hope many of you have gotten some of her work. She is absolutely amazing, and boy, doesn't she speak to real life. So when I got to this one, which says "Getting Past My Past," oh man, it's so big. It's so huge, honestly. Uh, the verse that she gives us is 2 Corinthians 1, 3, and 4. Praise be to the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of compassion and the God of all comfort, who comforts us in all our troubles, so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves received from God. Do you see that passing and coming down? Do you see that? Do you see how when you suddenly feel some comfort and maybe some calmness because you've been praying about something, and then we take what we're feeling right now and we pass that on to somebody else who may need it? That is what we're supposed to be doing. We are supposed to be able to do whatever it takes to, number one, get past your past. Get past it. Get past that what you feel like broke you, and get past what's hurting you or what hurt you. And if there's something in your life that you're embarrassed about, we've got to figure out how to get past it. But sometimes what you go through, as embarrassing as it may be to you, as just you're like, oh, I don't even want to talk about it. Do you realize there's somebody else out there who could be going through something similar, that you could help walk through that journey? Just thinking about what Quentin and I were just talking about, the devastation in Nashville and Clarksville, and the tornadoes were in Tennessee. And we see these on the news all the time, but seeing it on the news and living through it is completely different. Completely different. And to think that this could happen somewhere else, and it will, and to know then that Quentin doesn't even realize yet that he will be used in a way that he's going to see somebody post about something that happened like this, and what they were seeing or what they're experiencing. And Quentin's going to be able to say, not only am I praying for you, but I need you to know you're going to get through it, because our town went through it, and we got through it, and we became stronger for it, and we became better for it, and we didn't think we would, and we were scared, and we were sad, and we were angry, and we were frustrated, and we were mad at God, and we didn't understand why this was happening, but the one thing we realized when we all came together as one and when everything was sorted out, we came together stronger. We became better. We made new friends. We weren't so judgy Judy. We looked at people for the fact that they were people and not how they were different from us or how they thought different than us or how they believed different than us. Because I don't remember Jesus doing that in his day. I remember him being there for all, not just the people who did everything how he did it. So if you have a past, I'm hoping that after today you're going to figure out that you can not only get past it, but sometimes what you've gotten past will now help somebody in their here, in their now, and maybe you can help them make a better decision or to see a different light in it. So let's talk about this. I'm gonna let you know what she said first, and then we're going to talk about this. So let's read this together. If you have yours, you can bring it out. But if not, just listen. It's okay if you can't afford these books. I have it. Show up on Tuesday and we can do it together, right? That's what this is about, just helping one another. So she says, is there something from your past? Morning, Charlene. Is there something from your past that haunts you and constantly interrupts your thoughts? Is there? For many years, that something in my life was my abortion. I walked around in a zombie like state in the months following that decision with a growing hatred for myself at the root of my pain and confusion. Up until that point, the things that brought hurt into my life were caused by others. But the abortion was a choice I made myself. It seemed like the only answer at the time. The abortion clinic workers assured me that they could take care of this problem quickly and easily so I would never have to think about it again. What a lie. I kept my secret buried deep within my heart. I was so ashamed, so horrified, so convinced that if anyone ever found out that I had had an abortion, I'd be rejected by all my church friends and deemed a woman unfit to serve our God. My complete healing began when I was finally able to turn my thoughts past my own healing to help a young girl who our family knew who was in a crisis pregnancy situation. She was planning to have an abortion. I was faced with a fierce tug of war in my spirit. I knew if she heard my story, she might make a different choice. But what would she think of me? What would others think of me if they found out? This was my dirty secret. I knew God wanted me to talk to her, so would I trust him or would I retreat back into my shame? With shaking hands, I approached Sydney, intent on extending God's comfort and compassion. Maybe I could just share a few Bible verses and offer to help her without making myself vulnerable. But during our time together, it became clear she needed to hear my story. With a cracking voice and tear-filled eyes, I decided to care more about her situation than keeping my secret hidden. I told her the truth of what I'd experienced and prayed she make a different choice than I had. A year after that first meeting, I sat across from Sydney once again. She choked out a whisper, "Thank you," as she turned and kissed the chubby-cheeked boy and the baby carrier beside her. As soon as she spoke those two life-defining words, tears fell from both our eyes. Hers were tears of relief. Mine were tears of redemption. Both were wrapped in the hope that God truly can take even our worst mistakes, our worst embarrassments, and somehow bring good from them. God has brought me so far since that first meeting with Sydney. Now I travel to crisis pregnancy events and tell my story in hopes of encouraging people to support their local centers. I also share my story from pulpits all across America, trusting that the many women in the audience will see it possible to be healed and restored from tragic mistakes from our past, that once it's done, it's done. But it can't reach everyone. There are women in your sphere of influence who need to hear your story. I realize an abortion may not be the pain you're dealing with, but I also know few of us have escaped very deep hurts. Hey, Marion, good to see you. Will you go? Will you share? Will you allow God to comfort you and then take the comfort to others? This step could help you start your own healing process. I think you'll find that you are the one who winds up doubly blessed as you walk out the truth of 2 Corinthians 1 3 through 4. Praise be to God and the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of compassion and the God of all comfort, who comforts us in all our troubles so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves receive from God. Let me tell you what I got from this, because I didn't pick this because it said abortion or anything else. I picked it because that was her struggle. When I decided to divorce my first husband, it didn't matter that I tried to make that work for 17 years. I felt like a failure, and the last thing I ever wanted to do, I never marked myself divorced because I felt like it was a scarlet S on my chest. So I would just say I was single. Because being divorced to me felt like failure. It felt like I failed. I failed the marriage. I failed to make this work. I failed to make him love me enough. I failed to give that solid home to my kids. I failed to keep my home. I failed to be able to pay the bills. Everything led to that because to me it was one of the biggest failures in my life, that I had to uproot my kids. And I knew it was for a better life, but I knew how hard it was going to be. And little did I know that God could take this journey of not feeling loved by my daddy, losing my mom when I was 16, trying to find love in somebody who maybe did love me, but maybe just didn't choose me or ever want to put me first. Maybe I was number 4 or 5 in the list. Maybe. I felt like a failure through that, but little did I know that on down the road, I was going to develop a platform because of the business that I chose, and being able to speak my truth finally, being so scared to tell people what I had come from, that I couldn't afford a pizza for my kid, that I couldn't take them for Happy Meals, that my car was going to be repopped, that I had to move in with family and completely change my life and leave everything I knew. That all felt like such a failure, but it only felt like my failure, and I didn't feel like anybody else could even understand what I had come from, because I was the worst of the worst for not making it work. Me. In reality, that God was able to use that to produce a season of growth, to produce the fact that being so scared and doing something like that in the middle of the night meant that I could somehow get stronger, that I could stand on my own 2 feet, that I could work however many jobs it meant, that I could start my own network marketing journey, that I could do something and buy my kids pizza and Happy Meals, that I could once again get them new clothes instead of used clothes. That there were many people out there who felt exactly like I did, who had been through things similar. Maybe it's different. Maybe they lost their husband. And I don't mean taking them out in the woods and losing them. I mean like lost them. Like they died. And now they're left to do it all themselves. I would love to tell you that my growth for me, my life, my business, my heart, my intuition, all of that came at some of the best times in my life. But I'm here to tell you, they did come at the worst times of my life. I figured out what I was truly made of during those times. I realized that I could do things that I never thought I would have ever given a chance to do simply because I put one foot in front of the other and wanted to make it. It didn't matter the stumbling blocks. It didn't matter what the frustrations were. That I could have sat and wallowed in all the hardship of what life was dealing me. I could blame the world. I could blame God. And I did. And I did for a while. But to unpack there was only going to create a bigger hole, a bigger hurt. To yell and cry and talk about the hard times and how things were wrong and why didn't this work for me and why is it working for everybody else except me. Those times I wasn't alone. When I finally got brave enough on the many stages that I have been on, and now with social media, the many lives that I have been on, the many YouTubes that I have been on, to say, you are not alone. I am here to tell you that not only did I get through it, newsflash, more struggles have occurred, more things have happened, more health issues have arose. I have lost more people. We have been through more detriment. Lee was diagnosed blind. Oh my goodness, guys, life is going to keep bringing you and hitting you with the best of the problems. Quit thinking because you make a bad move. Quit thinking because you do something that you're like, oh, I feel so stupid for doing that, or I'm ashamed for doing that. Or what about the deal where everybody warns you about marrying somebody? Yeah, I don't know why you marrying that person. I don't know what, you know that he's a loser. He's a loser, complete loser, loser. Matter of fact, he got loser written all over him. Why can't you see it? And you are just determined to prove them wrong because people haven't figured out when you push like that, what normally do? You push forward to say, no, I'm going to prove you wrong. And then to find out, yep, I should have watched the signs. I should have listened. He was a loser. He wasn't for me. And here you sit with another failed marriage. Are you going to unpack there? Or are you going to find wisdom from what you just came from and never forget that eventually somebody can come into your life who could be in the same boat that you were once in? And it's not about you going saying, don't do that, don't do that, don't act like everybody else, but maybe share your story, which means you've got to unpack that honesty to let them know. I've always said that with my company, the reason so many of the representatives follow me and listen and want to show up to listen is because they know that I'm going to be honest with them. That they know that if they're frustrated, I'm probably frustrated too. Here's the difference. How how are we handling the frustration? How are we handling the things that make us mad? How are we, or if every time something gets rough, you quit on something, you quit on your marriage, maybe you're a habitual quitter. I quit that job. I didn't like that boss, so I quit. So you didn't stay at the job and try to find a way. It was a good job. It was bringing in a paycheck to get around the boss. You're going to quit because of the boss. Okay? How'd that work for you? Now you ain't got a job. Never quit a job without having something else to go to. Can I say that? You quit not one business, but two businesses. And network marketing, it happens all the time. Oh, well, it must be that this isn't the company for me because this is what's happening or this is not happening. But you don't dig deep and say, hold on, why do I want to trash everything that I have attempted to build so far? I have got to figure out how to do this in the midst of problems, in the midst of things happening, in the midst of struggles with the family, because I got news for you. No matter who you're with, no matter what you're doing, no matter who you're married to, who you're not married with, divorced, single, have kids, not have kids, problems are going to find you. It is a fact of life, y'all. But when we are able to take our biggest follies, our biggest mistakes, past things that make you cringe when you think back to what you did or maybe what you almost did. You're not the only one who's ever going to travel that journey. Somebody else will. But will you get your eyes off yourself long enough to realize that you obviously learned something from that moment? And maybe what you learn can help somebody else take a different direction. I think about just what Quentin and I were talking about earlier. They've been devastated by tornadoes and stuff, and Quentin says it makes him so sad, and he just finds himself crying, about it. But this is what I know about Quentin. He is going to do everything he can to help in this, but he's not going to just lay down and let this devastate him. Oh, he will have moments. We all do. We're human. But this is going to happen, and he will watch this or read this somewhere on social media. And because I know his heart, he will be the first, once he gets through all this and helps others get through it, to say, let me tell you a story about what has happened to me in my past. I wanted to sit down. I wanted to quit. I wanted to cry. I wanted to blame God. I wanted to say, why me? Why our team? Why our town? Why this? Why that? But instead I said, this is my reality. Now what can I do to help others and myself get back on our feet? There's going to be stories to come. I guarantee it. And no, I'm not predicting the future. But when you learn who people are and what they've gone through in their life, what you start to realize is other things you've gone through in your life will either going to help you get through that next problem, or it's going to help you help somebody else. Two things. Love the Lord your God with all your heart. And love people. Love people. Show them what you're about. I don't care what religion you are. I don't care. It doesn't interest me at all. Don't care. But what I know is this world is a dark, sinful world. And it is up to us to bring the light into the world. It is up to us to show others how you were able maybe to get past something, how you made similar mistakes, but look, you through it, you're past it. Are you going to hold on to it? You know what I mean? Stop. Do you know that that's what the devil wants? He wants you to hold on. He wants to remind you about how bad you were. He wants to show you all the struggles that you handled incorrectly. He wants to keep you muttering in the mud, in the quicksand. He wants you to fail, because if he has you thinking that you're this bad person over here, guess what? He ain't got to worry about you. He can leave you and he can go on to move on to somebody else, right? But there's nothing like being able to take something from your past and sharing it with somebody and saying, you can get through this. Man, you will. You will survive this and be better if you choose. Because it's all a choice. Whether you choose God, whether you choose to get up out of bed this morning, whether you choose to just stand there and be angry about something that happens, it is a choice. But even when you make the wrong choices, do you know that some of my best stories with my Avon family are the things I did wrong? Oh, I could tell them about every time I made a new title, every time I did a new sales level, every time I got a new customer. But do you know the top stories? The times I messed up with the customer. The times that I knew I wasn't doing what I should have been doing and I missed a title by X amount of dollars. The times that I let anger and frustration rule my world and then it sacrificed what I could have been doing. The times I didn't show up for my team and I had to verbally say, I apologize that I let this event in my life stand in the way of being there for you because I was all caught up in me. Do you know those are the best views? Yet I have sometimes the hardest times sharing all my failures with you because there have been so many. I realize in business I can't do anything about the company's failure. But what I can control is how I react. And when I react wrong, I must own it. And when I own it in front of my tribe, they see something in themselves that say, yeah, wow, I need to stop that. She's right. This isn't getting me anywhere. She's right. And when somebody messages me and says, this thing right here that you just shared, girl, I know that might have been hard for you, but I need you to know, man, this helped me because this was me. I don't want to hear about, how inspiring I am. Do you know where people say they gather their inspiration from me? Now, how crazy is this? Molly, you inspire me so much. When I heard about the fact that you couldn't make your car payment, not, oh, you inspire me because you got the $5,000 or the $10,000 bonus that time that they had. You won that incentive. Sure, that's like, oh, that's awesome, right? Okay, that's awesome. I get it. That's awesome. But the point is, when I tell them that I was able to buy that pizza for my kids and I hadn't been able to buy pizza for 2 months, that I worked hard and I still delivered the newspapers and I figured out how to work my business into the newspaper route and into my job and into my life. And when I did that, the point is they say, wow, this is where I'm at in my life. This is what you inspired me to do, something more and not just wallow in my past or a bad decision I made, or maybe I didn't make a decision soon enough and I should have done it years ago. Do you realize that I beat myself up for that for years? 17 years of marriage when I knew 12 years earlier this wasn't working, that I wasn't sure. But you know what? I had that thing. Everybody telling me, no, just keep working on it. Just keep. You got to give it enough time. Come on, it's gonna be okay. Hey, staff, it's gonna be all right. You're gonna do it. And I gave it year after year after year, and I felt more useless and more unloved, and trying to get my love from different places, throwing myself and becoming somebody who just did everything for the family because all I wanted was to spend time with this person in my life. And come to find out, this just wasn't going to be because I couldn't do it by myself. I'm not the person who endorses divorce, but I am the person who says if you've been there, let your past stay in the past, learn from it, and go forth and do better. Because if I had just kept wallowing in that, I would not have Lee Bibb in my life right now. I realized from all the years of getting it wrong that when things are reciprocated, you can get it right. It may have taken me 2 tries, but Lee and I have been married now for 18 years. And he always makes me laugh because I'll get pissed at him. He'll irritate me, and I'll go, "This is it. I'm divorcing you." And Lee's famous saying always is, "Where are we going?" Because I'm going with you. I don't know where you're going, but I'm going with you. And he gets me laughing immediately because that is our strategy. No matter what, together. No matter what. Because now I can tell people about a marriage that didn't work because I didn't have anybody who cared enough to want to keep it together. But now I do. And through that I've been able to show my kids what that looks like because for so many years I showed them what it didn't look like. My son, who also, my oldest, who has gone through a divorce, same thing. Let's just try to keep making this work. Let's just do this. And I used to tell him, don't unpack here. When he decided it was no more, that was it, no more. And it broke my heart to see him have to go through a divorce too. I thought, oh God, this isn't what I wanted for him. I said, keep your heart open. Look for what you do know that you want and you need in your life and your marriage. And you know what happened? He found Jess. He found Jess, someone who would love his daughter. And now they have Camden and they do everything together. They comfort their son together when they're sick. They take care of Skylar when she's there together. They laugh together. They do Christmas together. They do dinners together. No matter what it is, they are a team. But because he decided to learn from his past, like Mama did, he now has something better. I use business and I use my life a lot because the truth of the matter is, those are my experiences. And yeah, I still have the judgy Judies who will go, I can't believe you did that, or I can't believe you're talking about that, or I can't believe that you went there. Why not? I know I'm not the only person who's ever gone there. I know I'm not the only person who's ever slipped up and fell into that quicksand. I know I'm not the only person who has sat for not days but months and felt sorry for myself. I know I'm not the only person who's been angry with God numerous times and wanted to blame him for everything. I'm not the only person who's ever got a cancer diagnosis. So why wouldn't I? Because, see, my job is to make sure that you know you're not alone. Oh, I have people that I follow on Facebook, and I swear, I always say the majority of social media is only snapshots of what people want you to see. It's the truth. But in your brain, you're going, everything appears so perfect in their life. Everything appears like nothing ever goes wrong. Their marriage is always right. Their kids are wonderful. They never do anything wrong. You know, their job is immense. They live in this big house. Their business is terrific. Their kids have gotten 8 degrees. These are snapshots, but what you don't see are the times in between those things, and the roughness and the path and the quicksand and the roots that tripped them up, that were sticking up out of the the ground called life, and getting back up and treating the scraped knees and the broken bones, and the times that you just don't want to get up. Believe me, there are bad times there. Just most people don't want to share them, and I'm not judging them. I get you. Look, I'd much rather put a good picture up of me than a bad picture. I'm just the dummy who's put bad pictures up to go, hey, look, I can look like this, or I can use my company's products and look like this. You know what I'm saying? I'm the it's just me. Stop beating yourself up for past mistakes, for past paths, and start using them. Hey, Marianne, and start using them and forgiving yourself, because one day that story may help somebody else save themselves. Give it to God. If it was something that's wrong, give it to God. Man, lay it at the foot of the cross, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he is there. You know, and if you're like me, or I'm going, God, I really messed up here, God. I am so sorry. Like, forgive me, because, man, I just did not do a good thing there. Now I'm coming back 4 days later, and going, God, I can't believe I did that. I'm still feeling it. You know what God's doing? What are you talking about? I don't even know what you're talking about, because you know what? Because he's already forgiven me, and he's waiting for me to move on. He's waiting for me to use anything I've done to help somebody else, to give them a hand up, to say, rise up, you will get through this. Everybody makes a dumb move. Everybody gets it wrong. But are you going to keep getting up until you get it right? Your path can help others. Your path can bring you knowledge. Your path can carve out a path that will take you to a better place. Or you can wallow in it and think that's all you're worthy of, and you can stay there. But again, I'm going to tell you, that's a choice. You are choosing it. Choose better and do better. And you can't do that until you forgive yourself for whatever that is. Bad things are going to happen. Get through them and know that you're going to be stronger on the other side. But it surely is not going to look, feel, smell. None of that's going to look like that. Molly, you crazy. I'm not going to be better after this. I'm telling. Yes, you are. You're going to see exactly who you can be if you choose it. Some people have lost people quite recently over the last year. And look, and I don't care if you lost somebody 5 years ago, it's still fresh, right? Been there, done that. And it makes for some really sad thoughts in your brain. You just want to cry because you can't make new memories. Let me reverse that for you. Don't stay on that path of mourning for the rest of your life. It's okay to miss people. It is okay to mourn them. It is okay to have heavy days where something makes you feel that person, and you can feel it in every nerve of your body, and you just want them there, and that is okay. But what I want you to do in the aftermath is to think, do you know why you miss them that much? Because they left you with so much. Some people don't have any memories like that. because you can't miss somebody or mourn somebody the way you do unless you loved them in the beginning. Would they want you to never enjoy another Christmas? Would they want you to just sit and cry all day? Would they want you not to celebrate life? They wouldn't, because when they were here, you celebrated life, and they're hoping that you're going to take everything they ever left you with and that you're going to carry on, and you are going to continue living life and loving life and not feel guilty for it. Don't, because you are still here for a reason, and you are here to touch people's lives or make people laugh or inspire people or help somebody, or or you don't know when people are looking at you and seeing how you're handling something. And I don't always mean with a brave face. I just look, my mom died when I was 16, and I still have moments where now I say, "Oh, mama, what would you have thought if you had been able to be here for your great grandchildren? Mama, what would you think of Skylar right now, almost being 16? And little Cam, Mama, how you would have embraced him, how you would have loved him." I just think of things. I think of Lee's dad, who I know right now is not even listening to me. He's up in heaven. He's fishing somewhere. I know he is. But the joy and the laughter, and by the way, the frustrations, because he could be an honorary somebody when he wanted to be, okay? But even those times make me laugh. And do I wish he was here to have more? Of course. I'm human. I wanted more. But he left me with so much. And I would be doing him a disservice not to keep sharing his stories, and not to share the way he loved, and not to share the frustration that he bought, and not to enjoy the holidays. And I can miss him with every ounce of my being. But he wants us all to make new memories. So if you're feeling that you're on that path, that you feel yourself staying in the past because now you've lost somebody, don't unpack there. I can't make you move on. Only you can move your feet one foot at a time. But think about what that person would want for you, and they would want you to continue in their footsteps, to bring whatever that person bought for you, to keep bringing that to somebody else. That's what we do. We love people and we see beyond our own hurt. And sometimes we use the hurt and we use the mistakes to further us for the betterment of other people, because it's not all about you, Cupcake. Mm, somebody told me that one time, right? It's not all about you, Cupcake. Sometimes you have to choose what you're going to do with the pain or the path or the loss that you have experienced. Maybe the frustration in your business. How are you going to deal with it? You can blame everybody but yourself, but what you do with it, that's going to speak volumes. So I hope you choose well. I hope you do. And if you're not there yet, show yourself some grace. You'll get there if that's what you want. You'll get there if you keep moving onward no matter what. Even baby steps are big steps because you're stepping. That's what it's about. I hope you have a great rest of your week. If you have any prayer requests, please drop them in the comments. I would absolutely love to keep your loved one or something you're going through uh, in my prayers. I pray for all of you as a whole, obviously not individually if I don't have anything. Um, but the holidays can be hard. hang in. Hang in. Do your best and choose better. And don't unpack in the negative. Don't unpack in the hurt. Don't unpack in the past. Leave it where it should be and get on with life. Love you guys.